Before the time skip, we're shown a small countryside hut where Tanjiro, Zenitsu, Nezuko, and Inosuke once lived peacefully together. But then, a major time skip hits. We're suddenly thrown into a fully modernized, developed city. This jump in time is roughly 3 generations later, somewhere around 100 to 150 years. The first person we meet in this new era is a 16-year-old boy named Kanata Kamado, a direct descendant of Tanjiro Kamado. Kanata, being the eldest son, is trying to wake up his younger brother, Sumihiko Kamado, who, surprise, looks exactly like Tanjiro. Kanata urges him to get up or he'll be late for school, but Sumihiko, half asleep, insists he's already awake. Classic denial. Frustrated, Kanata heads off to school alone, reminding himself that Sumihiko is 15 now. He's no little kid anymore. Next, we jump to Tokyo, because yes, all of this is now happening in Tokyo. We're taken to the home of Zenitsu's future descendant, Yoshiteru Agatsuma. He's reading a worn-out autobiography written by none other than his great-grandfather, Zenitsu. And here's something interesting. Even though Zenitsu never awakened the Demon Slayer mark in the final battle, he lived well past 25, which is rare. That's how he managed to write an autobiography where he turned himself into the main character and chronicled all the events related to the demons. Yoshiteru, deeply moved by the story, finishes the book and starts crying, clearly emotional from just reliving the final battle with Muzan. But his older sister Toko doesn't have time for all this drama. She kicks him and scolds him for reading what she believes are their grandfather's made-up stories. According to her, demons never existed. The irony? She doesn't even realize that she's the great-granddaughter of Nezuko and Zenitsu, and looks almost identical to Nezuko. Toko, annoyed, tells Yoshiteru to focus on school instead of fairy tales. Both siblings head to high school, and along the way, Yoshiteru thinks, all the girls in our family are supposed to be calm and gentle. But Toko? She's got a temper like a volcano. While on the way, Toko checks her phone and sees breaking news. Tenma Uzui just won a gold medal for Japan in gymnastics. She's a huge fan, and adores him the same way modern girls fangirl over K-pop idols. And in case you're wondering, yes, Tenma is the descendant of none other than the flashy king himself, Tengen Uzui. Yoshiteru scoffs, saying Tenma has too much attitude and doesn't deserve the gold. Toko immediately snaps back, saying he's so handsome he deserves a gold medal just for his looks. Then something catches Yoshiteru's eye on Toko's phone. He grabs it and sees news about a gorgeous botanist who just discovered an extremely rare flower, the blue spider lily. Yes, the same flower Muzan searched for his entire life and never found. The botanist's name? Aoba Hashibira, a direct descendant of Inosuke. Turns out, Inosuke and Aoi Kanzaki got married, and Aoba is their great-grandchild. Like Zenitsu, Inosuke also didn't unlock the Demon Slayer mark and lived beyond 25. Aoba's discovery made headlines, but when he accidentally mishandled the rare flower, he had to apologize publicly and faced heavy criticism. Seeing the news, Yoshiteru is stunned, thinking the botanist is a beautiful girl. Toko rolls her eyes and breaks it to him. He's a guy. Yoshiteru is shocked, proving he's just as much of a pervert as his great-grandfather Zenitsu. As they continue walking to school, they spot a pair of adorable twins wrapped in identical blankets. They eerily resemble Muichiro Tokito and his brother. A little farther ahead, 2 stunning girls pass by, and Yoshiteru is instantly smitten. These girls closely resemble Shinobu and her older sister. Yoshiteru tells his sister that those girls are definitely from the elite Shikrik girls' school. Toko calls him creepy, but the moment she sees Tanaka, the descendant of Tanjiro, her mood changes. She rushes over, fangirls a little, and compliments how cute he looks today. It seems like Tanaka and Toko might be a couple. But here's where things get weird. Their great-grandparents, Tanjiro and Nezuko, were siblings. So, unless they don't know, that's a little awkward. Back to the story. Yoshiteru grumbles about learning dark magic to protect Tanaka from his sister, only to get scolded again by Toko. The 3 of them finally head toward their high school. Just nearby, we see a kindergarten. Nothing unusual, until we spot who's looking after the kids. A massive, muscular man, built like a professional bodybuilder, is gently handling the children. Turns out, this guy represents none other than Gyomei, the stone hashira, also known as the Beast. Looking at him, Yoshiteru can't help but comment, "This guy looks totally out of place in this job. With a body like that, he should be lifting weights, not toddlers." Then, out of nowhere, Toko asks Kanata if she's free this evening. She suggests they grab dinner together because she spotted a beautiful restaurant on the way. It's run by a couple, where the woman has bright pink hair, and the guy? He looks strange. One eye is a different color from the other. If you're a fan, you already know who this is about. It's clearly a nod to the legendary Hashira couple, Obanai and Mitsuri. Remember during the final battle with Muzan? Both of them died with one final wish. to be reborn and live together again, not in war, but in peace. And now, it seems, that wish has come true. Next, we're taken to Tanjiro's future home. We see Sumihiko, his descendant, suddenly waking up, and he's super late for school. He rushes to get ready, then literally jumps out of his apartment window. This is where we realize how athletic Sumihiko really is. He races across rooftops, dashing past homes, sprinting like a pro, until he zips right through a house where two elderly men are playing chess. But these aren't just any old men. Their appearance makes it obvious. They're none other than the former Thunder Hashira and the former Water Hashira. Yes, Urokodaki and his old comrade. At that moment, former Thunder Hashira shouts at a young boy saying, "You keep leaving here every day and I'll make sure I report this to your home." Meanwhile, at the house of the two elderly men, a news report is airing on TV, announcing how a man named Ubayashiki has broken the record for being the oldest man in Japan. The news then talks about Ubayashiki's son, who is over 100 years old. This serves as clear proof that the curse on the Ubayashiki family, that none would live past 30, has finally been broken. In fact, it has been broken so well that the current family member has lived beyond 108 years. Then, we see Sumihiko running past a shop named Haganazuka Equipment, a blacksmith shop. He's running so fast that he nearly collides with three little girls who bear a striking resemblance to Sumi, Kyo, and Naho from the Butterfly Mansion. Sumihiko is running at such speed that he even jumps over a police car, enraging the officer inside. The officer and his assistant remind us of Sanemi and his younger brother Genya. Furious, the officers start chasing Sumihiko. As Sumihiko speeds through, he passes by some kids who resemble Gyutomyu and his best friends Sabito and Makomo. The boy who looks like Gyu is named Gichi, a direct descendant of Gyutomyu. The fascinating part is that these kids are talking about a keychain that looks exactly like the cat mask that Urokodaki used to give all his students. Next, we see Yoshiteru, who's looking at a drawing of a beautiful girl on his phone. That girl is none other than Lady Tamio. Yoshiteru tells his friend that this drawing was done by someone named Yushiro, an incredible artist whose work looks so realistic that you can't tell whether it's a drawing or a real photo. We're talking about the one and only Yushiro, the immortal demon. In fact, Tanjiro had once told Yushiro to always stay alive because only he could keep Lady Tamayo alive in his memories. And that's why Yushiro doesn't age and identifies himself as an artist. Then we see Sumihiko, who's running faster towards school. Suddenly, his friend Tozuro arrives, who resembles Rengoku, although Tozuro shares Rengoku's bloodline, being the descendant of Rengoku's younger brother. Both Sumihiko and Tozuro continue running towards school. Sumihiko can't believe Tozuro is late, and Tozuro says, "I was up practicing till 4 a.m. last night, so I couldn't wake up on time this morning. My dad had to slap me to get me out of bed, or I would have slept through." His vibes are totally Rengoku-like. Just then, a police car arrives, and the officer shouts, "Stop, kid!" But instead of stopping, both boys increase their speed. Tozuro then suggests, "You should join the kendo club. I'm sure you'll be the top player since you're the best athlete." But Sumihiko turns it down, saying he doesn't want his sleep interrupted by the club activities. The officers keep honking and shouting at them, but the two kids are so caught up in their own world that they don't even hear the police. Eventually, they both arrive at school, and a teacher who looks exactly like the Demon Slayer's Murata shouts, "Quick, close the gates! Don't let them inside!" Sumihiko casually replies, "We'll just jump over the gate," and Tozuro agrees. Even after the gates are closed, both boys leap over them and get inside. Meanwhile, the officers stop their car and talk to the teacher, telling him, "We need to speak with you." This leads us to a classic Sanemi-style angry face. The scene shifts to the descendant of Inosuke, who's thinking to himself, "I really don't like living in the city. It would be so much better to live alone in the mountains." A phone call rings at Tanjiro's future home, where Sumihiko's mom answers. On the other end, the school teachers are telling her that they need to scold her son for his mischievous behavior and inform her about today's incident. Sumihiko's mom apologizes, and we get a close-up shot of the wall, where old photos are hung. One of those photos is of Rengoku's sword hilt, and right above it is Tanjiro Kamado's sword. Just above the sword, we see a very old picture taken after the final battle, with all the survivors from that battle smiling together. Next to this photo, we see the Hanafuda earrings, and with this beautiful panel, the chapter ends. This final chapter, which is just a 24-page future arc of Demon Slayer. Personally, I loved it. It gave us insights into what happened to our favorite characters after the main story. I think many manga artists should do something like this, especially when creating long, epic series. I really enjoyed this chapter, especially how the descendants of Zenitsu, Tanjiro, and Inosuke resemble their ancestors in both appearance and personality. As I was reading this chapter, a small smile stayed on my face the entire time, And maybe that's exactly what the author wanted. In any case, I loved the entire Demon Slayer series, especially this future arc.